Happy Easter, everyone. Or maybe it's probably the day after, depending on where you're at. But I figured it was a good day to do a little blogging about exercise, physical activity, however you may want to call it, when it comes to dealing with depression. Now, I may have made a video like this a while back, but someone left a comment that kind of struck me, and they had said something along the lines as to like, you seemed like you were happier when you were always going to the gym. Now, that got me thinking that, yes, I have been going to the gym more often lately. I've toned down on the running, so I'm trying to mix it up even, kind of like even Steven. And so here's the thing. When it comes to battling depression and using physical exercise as a means to help improve your mood or make the symptoms subside, whatever it may be, I do find that there are particular kinds of physical activity that may help with certain types of moods. So for instance, I find that if you're like under a lot of stress, or if your mood is just kind of like generally low, but not too low, you're not really like in a major depressive episode, but you're just kind of feeling a little down, just looking for a little pick-me-up, that's where I find a good cardio session comes in. A good 2 to 3 hours, if you have the time. Of course, most likely a lot of people would have to resort to the weekends, but a good, long, light to moderate cardio session I find is really good for kind of like helping to alleviate the stress levels and just kind of boost your mood. Now the trick is light to moderate, because you don't want to do 2, 3, or even 5, 4 or 4+ hours of cardio and then have it be intense, unless of course you've got a good fitness base. Because oftentimes if you do too much cardio, you might feel good afterwards and you'll also feel pretty tired, but the next day, or especially if you've done like consecutive days of heavy cardio, moderate to high intensity cardio, and then you stop, that can actually potentially lead to worsening mood, at least like in my experience. And I experienced this during the summer months. Whenever I do like a long stretch, like say 1 to 2 weeks, the weather is good, getting in some good physical activity, and then I kind of stop, and it's like the next couple days I do like nothing, I find that my mood actually like goes pretty low. So that's something to watch for. Now, as far as like if you're like in a major depressive state, well, that can be difficult for a lot of people, I can imagine. Well, I don't like to say imagine, but I would think that for a lot of people, if they're truly in a depressive state, then just even getting out of bed or just wanting to do anything can be super challenging. So that's where it's just a matter of just like maybe stepping outside for like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe just doing like a short walk, or maybe what it could be is finding something that you really enjoy eating. Now be careful not to like resort to overeating or undereating, but really pick out something that you enjoy eating, your favorite food, maybe it's your favorite fruit, just something to at least see if you can fight your way to get from like that major depressive state to like lowering the depression just a little bit. But I realize that sometimes it's easier said than done. Now, there's other parts of depression that seem to be less talked about, and that is irritability and anger. Yes, a lot of times people think of depression as like sadness, hopelessness, feeling down. But it seems like with depression, there's also components of irritableness and of course anger. Now when it comes to physical activity, the best way to deal with irritability and anger I find is weights. Doing heavy weights or explosive training, box jumps, anything that requires like no more than say like 30 seconds of activity. I find that's a good way to kind of just like unleash that anger, lifting that heavy weight and know that you're making gains. Cardio, not so much, unless you're doing like sprints, like full on 10 to 15 second sprints. But you got to be careful because you do, and even with weights, if you're finding that you're got a lot of anger or irritability, you want to make sure that you got a good warm up before you start lifting the heavy weights or doing like the vigorous sprints, because you don't want to end up injuring yourself. But when it does come to like anger, I find that lifting weights or explosive activity is best. So with that being said, I'm sure I'll be making kind of like variations of this video, because I do feel like that one of the best ways to kind of help battle depression is physical activity. Now, it may not work for everyone, and another 2 components I'm going to talk about in future videos, because I don't want to make this video too long. I figure people's attention spans, it depending on where you read, it's like 30 seconds to a minute at the most, maybe like 4 to 6 minutes at the most. So that's why I'm kind of keeping this like under 10 minutes for sure. But there's 2 other components when it comes to like battling depression. And what has seemed to be helping me a lot is the second one is mental stimulation. That's why I really enjoy like Python programming, SQL. I just finished up my second portfolio project. Yep, portfolio project number 2. I'm about to do my write-up for it, and then I'm going to put it on my portfolio. So I'm pretty excited about that. But that's a way to keep myself mentally stimulated, learning new things. And then the other thing, of course, is gaming. And of course, my favorite types of games are like old school games, like Atari, the original NES, now I'm losing. But yeah, like the older games like Metroid, Super Metroid, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong Jr., Missile Command. Let's see, what else is there? I'm sure there's a lot of games I can't. 1942, 1943, Centipede. Let's see, what else is there? I'm sure, but there's several others out there. But yeah, I'm pretty much more of like the old school gamer. Let's see. Oh yeah, the retro Snake game. As far as like the newer games, not so much, but maybe, I might try some out. And then of course, the third component is diet. Now, of course, I know a lot of you guys have probably realized what I'm enjoying eating a lot lately, but yes, it's just a matter of finding something that you really enjoy eating. For me, I like spicy foods. It seems to work in helping my depression. Now, it may not work for everyone else, but so that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys on this Easter Sunday, and just kind of showing gratitude for having had a good day, got out some physical activity, actually got out on the bicycle. Pretty windy out there today, but I do like riding in the winds. And okay, one last thing, as far as like physical activity and dealing with depression, there's another component that I like to make a quick mention of, and that is the nerve factor. Now, what do I mean by nerve factor? Now, this may not necessarily help for reducing anxiety, but for instance, like cycling, like for today, for instance, some of those winds were gusting up to 40 plus miles an hour. And it's one thing to be going into a headwind. It's awesome to be having a tailwind, but if you get caught with a sudden gust of wind as a crosswind, yeah, that can potentially lead to some bad outcomes, like knocking you off your course, even potentially knocking off your bike. And when you're going pretty fast with a tailwind and then you got to worry about switching winds, yeah, that takes a little bit of nerve. I mean, it's like, or like skiing fast. When I ski fast, that's a little bit of a nerve element. And I find that seems to kind of target more so the deeper depression and the anger issues. Now, like I said, this may not work for everyone else, but this is just what I've known that's helped with my depression is physical activity, but making sure I switch it up, because now I want to make sure I want to regain some of my muscle mass, because I'm not trying to be like an all-star runner or cyclist. I don't want to be overly slim. And I do feel like that if I can gain some mass back on me, yes, perhaps I will be a little happier. So that guy may have been, or whoever made that comment may have been onto something that, yeah, it is possible that I may have been a little happier when I was going to the gym more often. So, yep, I'm toning down the running. And if I do a long run or cycle ride, I go nice and easy. So with that being said, I'm looking forward to hitting up the gym this next week, and hopefully I'll be doing some more live streams from there. At least one for sure, and then some gaming live streams as well. But aside from that, I think that's all for now. But yeah, as far as depression, just doing my best to battle, stay on top of the depression, not let it get the best of me. But hope you guys are doing well out there, and happy Easter, happy day after Easter, belated Easter, however it may be. But thank you all for watching. Much love to all of you out there, and I will be back at you guys soon enough. All right, till next time, peace out.